Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. My name is Liv and I make lots of healthy recipes, wellness, and health tips and tricks here on this channel. Today is a very highly requested video, and that is my keto update. So if you don't know or you're new, I went keto for the month of March. So all 31 days I went full keto, and I just, for fun, just to see, did my gut health improve? Did my skin improve? Did I lose weight? Test it out for myself because the research is just so strong for the keto diet being beneficial for many different populations. So I put it to the test. I also asked you guys for questions on Instagram to make sure that I cover everything in this video. But if I don't cover something and you have a question, just comment it down below and I will respond. I respond to all of my comments. So if you have a question, just leave it down below. But let's go ahead and get into it. So just to set this up for people who don't know what the keto diet is, the keto diet is a low carb diet, high fat. So it's not high protein. A lot of misconceptions, I think, that it's high protein. It's low carb, high fat. So your carbs are basically 5% of your daily macronutrient ratio. The fats make out about 70%, and then that leaves 25% for protein. And basically, the body has three sources for fuel. It has glucose, which is carbohydrates. It has fats, which is your fat. And then lastly, it has your muscle, which it almost never goes into because you have glucose and you have fats. So the whole premise behind it is that by going and shifting into ketosis and into a system where you're burning fats, you go away from burning glucose and carbs as fuel to fats. And when you burn the fats, you can mobilize and burn the fats that you already have. In our bodies, we have about 2,500 calories of glucose that we can use up, but we have 40,000 calories of fat that we can use. So it's a cleaner fuel source, there's more fuel of it available, and a lot of our body's processes run better on fats. For example, your brain runs better on fats. It is a fat source, it is made up of fats, and you can think better and you're clearer when you run on fat. So there's a ton of research on keto. It's good for reducing inflammation, it's good for brain health, so think Alzheimer's, MS, Parkinson's, for gut health, for decreasing cancer risk, for thyroid health, for decreasing fat, for increasing your energy via the mitochondria. Just so many things. And there's a lot of different research, which I could honestly talk for an hour about each of those and how it kind of happens in the body. But that's kind of going to be a bit overwhelming, I think, for you guys. So I'm just going to get into the synopsis. So straight off the bat, I just want to say that I 100% loved keto. Benefits that I saw. Now, I should preface this by I didn't start this being overweight. I've always been a healthy weight. So in terms of that, take that into consideration. I've been mainly paleo. I would say like 95% paleo for a couple of years now. So I wasn't a carb addict, switching from carb addict to like a keto diet, which would be a big shift. I was already almost keto and possibly entered ketosis even before starting the keto diet a couple times, just based on what I was eating, and I just saw similarities. So take that into consideration as well, because someone who's a healthy weight may not lose as much as someone who's an unhealthy weight because they're already healthy. I did find the keto diet super easy. A lot of people think it is bacon and cheese. That is 100% not true. That is what is called the dirty keto, and the way you definitely don't want to do it. You're loading up on the really good healthy fats: avocados, nuts, seeds, wild-caught salmon, pasture-raised eggs, grass-fed and grass-finished meats, coconut oil, olive oil, and that's pretty much like the main ones. You can have a little bit of full-fat dairy if you really want to, but because dairy is inflammatory, I would suggest not. So it's definitely not eating processed foods and processed meats. I also didn't use exogenous ketones, and based on the research and what I've read from a lot of people, you don't need exogenous ketones. It can help you get into ketosis, but you don't need to spend money on that kind of stuff in order to be keto. So the way I formulated my meals was to base them all around fats. So I loaded up on low-carb veggies, which are things like arugula, spinach, asparagus, zucchini, spaghetti squash, and stayed away from things like sweet potato, regular potato, more higher starch veggies like that. And it was really simple because I just took a lot of my leafy greens, or asparagus or Brussels sprouts or broccoli. I added a little bit of protein, so like chicken, eggs or wild-caught salmon or grass-fed beef or lamb, and then a few servings of healthy fats. So like olive oil on top, nuts and seeds on my salad, avocados, smoothies that didn't have fruit. So if you guys want like a keto meal plan, maybe like a 7-day one, let me know in the comments and I can create like a 7-day meal plan that'll be free for you guys. And that will give you like ideas. So if you want that, just let me know and I'll create that for you guys for free. In terms of tracking my macros, I did use what's called the Keto app, and I'll pull it up. So I'm gonna go to a blank day. So basically, it'll focus. I'll do a close-up of it after, but it calculates your net carbs for you, your protein and your fat. You just put in the percent. So if you put like 70% of your diet is fat and all that, it'll calculate the grams for you, and it calculates net carbs. So the important thing with keto is you're going to use net carbs, which is carbohydrates minus fiber, because the fiber doesn't count. So let's say something has 10 grams of carbs and 7 grams of fiber, that is 3 net carbs. Without this app, you'd have to do it all by hand, which is just kind of tedious. So I just used this app to make my life easier because, I mean, why not? And I found that really useful for, especially in the first couple weeks of keto where I wasn't exactly sure of the net carbs of everything. Especially some of the nuts and seeds are higher in carbohydrates. So you have to watch, because if your proportions get off and you get, let's say, up to 20% carbs or even like 10% carbs, then you're going to throw your body out of ketosis. So especially if you're new to this, I would suggest for a couple weeks using your app or tracking your macros by hand so that you're sure, because otherwise you could be doing it for nothing. In terms of measuring ketones, the thing about the body is that you're only going to notice ketones in your urine, which is probably the most, blood is the best. The blood is the best way to measure your ketones, but blood test strips are about $5 per strip, so that's really expensive. Urine's going to be a lot easier, but you're only releasing ketones in your urine when you're entering ketosis. Once you're in keto, you're using those ketones, so you're not expelling them. So it's only during that transition period. So the first few days when you're going into it to make sure you get into it. But then if you're staying under 5% and under, you don't need to, and you're not going to be able to see them on like the pee strips. You'll be able to see it in your blood for sure, because your blood is circulating and using them, but that is definitely a more expensive option that I didn't go with. So I wrote down some of the questions from Instagram, so I'm just going to go through them. So did I experience the keto flu? No, but I think that's also partly because I was already fairly low carb being paleo. I think if you went from high carb to keto, like cold turkey one day to the next, you would probably get the keto flu. But there's lots of things you can do to combat the keto flu. Hydrate. You also need to increase your sodium, because when you're running on more fats, you need to, and I don't mean like table salt, I mean pink Himalayan salt, like a good quality sodium, not like processed sodium. So you want to add in pink salt, that will help, and lots of water. I think it was March 2nd, because it was a Saturday, I got a little bit of a headache, but I drank a little bit more water, like half a bottle of water, and then the headache went away, and that was the end of the keto flu, or the flu for me, which I'm not going to call it flu even, because it was like a half-hour mild headache. Carb cravings, 100% no, I did not crave carbs whatsoever. I had no desire for carbs. I didn't miss them. My body craves fat, and that's another thing. When I've talked to my friends who've done keto, all your body wants is fats because it's running on fats. So I was craving, arugula with olive oil, and I was craving avocado, and I literally was craving fats. And the thing about keto is that once you're fat adapted, which I want to stress is the point of keto, and that's why I want to do it, is to learn how to be metabolically flexible so that you can go between burning carbs and burning fat. So when you're in that state, you're not hangry, so you're not going to get blood sugar dips. So if you ever get hangry, that is 100% a blood sugar issue, and keto will 100% fix that, because your body runs on fat and you don't get hangry. So that was nice because I wasn't getting ravenous or irritable mood swings when you're hangry, which is perfect. So your body just honestly, once you become fat adapted, you just crave fats, and I didn't miss it at all. I had questions about creating a balanced meal and limiting veggies. You definitely don't limit veggies at all. I would say I even ate more veggies being on keto. You just stick to lower carb veggies, which by and part are actually the healthier veggies for you anyways, because leafy greens are the best thing you can eat and they're low in carb. So dandelion greens, bok choy, I fell in love with bok choy. I fell in love with arugula again. There's collard greens, there's kale, there's just so many. So you don't limit your veggies at all. You still get your proteins and you're loaded with healthy fats, which is what you run on. And there is still carbs in those veggies. It's just lower. So it's not like, it's a no carb diet. Questions about fruit and sweet potato. So technically nothing is off limits on keto if you can fit it in, but you won't be able to fit in too much fruit or too much things like sweet potato because it'll be way too high of carbohydrates. So you want to stay under 25 grams a day. And for example, 2 tablespoons of blueberries is about 3 net carbs. So sometimes I'd have a couple tablespoons of blueberries, or if I worked out that day, when you work out, you will get more carbs just by like needing to refuel. So you might have up to a 1/4 cup of berries, but I wouldn't say that's every day. I would say like blueberries or raspberries or blackberries like every other day or every couple days. But you can get so many vitamins and minerals and nutrients from your vegetables anyway, so I wouldn't really be concerned. Keto with thyroid is a question I got. Keto is actually really good, especially for hypothyroid. Hypothyroid basically is inflammation, and when we have a high carb diet, it blocks the conversion of T4 to T3, which if you have hypothyroid, you're aware of those terms. So it blocks that. And with the keto diet, it basically helps the conversion of T4 to T3 because it decreases inflammation. So it's super good for that. Is it sustainable? You probably won't be in ketosis for like forever, 365 days a year. Things happen. You have a party or a wedding. Keto cycling is a lot more sustainable. So that's like 5 days on, 3 days off, or 5 days on, 2 days off, something like that, where you're cycling in and out is a lot more sustainable. Energy, 100%, lots more energy, more clarity as well. I was a lot more clear. I felt like my brain was on like overdrive. It was going so fast and like all the synapses were clicking at clinic. Like I was making the joke like maybe she's born with it, maybe it's keto, because like that's how fast people ask questions and I would be like bam, 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 what about this, what about this? So I did find that my brain function improved immensely, a lot more energy. I've been getting up at 5 a.m. for the last 3 weeks, which is amazing. I've had energy throughout the day. My brain fog is gone, so that's really good. I know this is going to be a popular one, and that is, did I lose any weight? So I have a body fat thing that I did before and after. So I just did this one yesterday, which is like April 3rd, so it's like 33 days. And body fat is a lot more important than weight. So you can have more muscle and weigh more, but be smaller than someone who has less muscle. For example, I may weigh more than my friend, but I wear a smaller size because I have more muscle, which takes up less room. So that's why weight is kind of like, you want to look at body fat percent versus weight because, like I said, I weigh more than some of my friends who are 2 sizes larger than I am. So my body fat percentage did go down. I was already fit before starting this, so it wasn't drastic. Again, I think you'd have a bigger difference if you were maybe like larger or like unhealthy or overweight, but because I was already like optimal according to the body fat percentage, there wasn't much of a change. But there was a change, 1.5%, which I think is like pretty decent for me. But what I did notice was that I was leaner. So my abs and everything, I just felt more shredded and less heavy, and that like things were just more, I'm gonna go like this, like tighter. That's how I would describe it. I also had a lot less bloating. So my gut health improved dramatically. I'm gonna call what I call like the little pooch. I don't know, like that, not super bloated, but that little bit of like bloating you can sometimes get in your lower abdomen. Gone, disappeared, don't get it anymore, which is kind of really nice because that can almost feel like you're eating clean, but you always have this like little pooch because, you're not digesting as much carbs and you're getting bloated from the carbs. So I will say that is really good. I didn't have as much like flares of like IBS or anything like that. So the main things I did notice was the shredded, like more lean. And people even told me at clinic, your face seems leaner, your neck, I can see it before I even saw it. So they told me too. But definitely like my abdomen was a lot less bloated and a lot more shredded, and like I can see my abs more, which is kind of nice. I also want to add in a little thing about the keto flu. If you get the keto flu, you basically need to supplement with L-carnitine, which is the rate limiting step that helps the conversion. Without getting too sciencey, L-carnitine, if you're getting the keto flu, will 100% solve that like within hours. I got a lot of questions about how to start the keto diet, and like I said, I would use the keto app because it's really useful for calculating net carbs. and you can put in all your percentages and like your ratios for everything. I would also read Dr. Axe's book, The Keto Diet. This is one of the best resources I've found for keto and how to do it healthily, that focuses on lots of greens and avocados and not like the bacon and the cheese. It also talks a lot about the research, so it's a very well researched book, and how it benefits, cancer, Alzheimer's, brain health, everything it benefits is in here. And they also have lots of recipes in there. And I did do, all my March videos are keto because I was on keto, but they have lots of great recipes in there for, lasagnas and chicken tenders and cheesecake and snacks, and it gives you meal plans in here as well. And it's like $21, $22 on Amazon, so I feel like it's a really good investment. So this is something I read before starting keto and would 100% recommend it if you're looking for a good resource. And the last question was about cycling and how I feel about that. So keto cycling is really great once you've become fat adapted. Now, it takes different people different lengths of time to become fat adapted. For me, because I was already low carb, I definitely knew I was fat adapted within, I would say, a week. But if you're switching from a higher carb where you're eating lots of carbs and you're going to keto, it might take up to 60 days for you to become fat adapted. So I wouldn't suggest cycling until you become fat adapted. And when you'll know once you're fat adapted because you'll feel it. You'll feel the energy increase. You're going to crave like lots of fats. You're not going to crave carbs. You're going to feel your mood stabilize. You're going to sleep better. You'll know because you'll feel the difference. So it honestly varies from person to person, but would 100% recommend keto cycling after you've learned to become fat adapted, which is kind of my plan. I've continued keto for the next few days, but I know I have events or family gatherings where I'm still going to, break out of keto for a day, but that does not mean binge. I want to stress that does not mean to go crazy on carbs. I'm just going to go a little bit higher. So it's still going to be probably under 80 grams instead of 25. It's going to be under 80, a little bit of a carb refuel, and then go back into the keto. And that way your body kind of cycles in and out, and that can be really good for it. And a lot of females feel a lot of benefit from keto cycling too. So I hope that was a good update recap for you. If you guys want a sample 7-day meal plan, I'll do that. Just comment down below and let me know. If you have any other questions, you can leave them down below. Or if you don't feel comfortable leaving them down below, you want to be anonymous, you can always DM me on Instagram because I always check and respond to those. And yeah, so that is my update. Overall, I loved keto, 100% would recommend it to everybody, and it is so easy. A lot of people think it's complicated, but you just need leafy veggies, healthy fats, a little bit of protein, and you'll be really good to go. I also have a bunch of keto desserts that I created, so if that's you're worried about that, I have keto desserts, so you can definitely have desserts on keto too. So I hope you guys are all having a great day, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.